So I'm getting ready to start recording now. We are recording. Okay, so tonight is it's a show and tell of mushrooms that we typically find in the springtime. We're focusing on the Basidios, so the guild, the polypores, the jelly fungi. We've spent the past 2 weeks looking at the ascos. So tonight we're back into the other big group that we tend to call mushrooms. The way we do this, for anybody who's new, is we take turns. Everyone is welcome to share. You can either share from your own screen by using the little share button that's down at the bottom, the green button, and sharing photographs that you have on your own computer or on iNaturalist or Mushroom Observer. Or some people have chosen to email their mushrooms to me and I can show them in the order that I got them. We typically get a queue, so we just kind of go in order. So if there's people who do want to share tonight, type your name into the chat box that you'll find down at the bottom, and I'll just start a running list and call on people in your order. And if somebody could please type in the names of the mushrooms that we're talking about, it will help everyone greatly. So with all of that being said, is there anybody that wants to jump right in and go first? I'll open it up there before I share my own screen and start sharing the ones I got emailed to me. So, and just as a reminder, this is not necessarily mushrooms that you've already found. We're looking for spring Basidios. So these are the spring mushrooms that we typically find between about now and, I don't know, the beginning of June or so. So we're looking for anything that people tend to find in the spring, just to kind of familiarize ourselves with what we will be seeing in the very near future. So I'm going to share my screen. Nobody has jumped in here yet. And I will go right to, I think, to Dave. Dave was the first person to email me. So Dave, are you ready to
yeah, go ahead. Yeah, nothing very exciting, but you know, a few things I found recently. I haven't found any Panella stypticus lately. I think I probably picked them all, you know, over the last 2 months. But here you go, Maricel. You'll be proud of me. I identified an Antrodia. I'm pretty sure. Found we went for a walk, and I picked up a stick, and this was on it, and it's got these really big pores. They're kind of slightly maze-like. The context is not particularly hard, corky, a little bit flexible. Got some. I couldn't get any spores to fall out of it, but I dug a little material out of one of these pores and tried scoping it and found a few spores. So I think this is what it is. This Antrodia, what is it? Heteromorphia, I think.
Heteromorpha.
Mm-hmm.
Heteromorpha. Okay.
On the
Yeah, it's probably been there since last fall. You know.
Dave, on
the place where we found this, there was still a fair amount of snow on the ground. So there's some spores, and they're supposed to be shaped like this for this species. These are a little bit smaller than what's reported, but they might not be mature spores. I didn't get them from a spore drop.
What's your question, Maricel?
Oh, the wood.
Oh, you know, I'm not sure. It's supposed to grow on conifer, but it was just a stick.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's very likely it was hemlock. There was an awful lot of hemlock in this area. So, but yeah, that species supposedly grows on coniferous wood. So.
What did you use, Dave, for your resource? Where did you get this name?
The Quebec site, I believe. Okay. You know, I may have got from Mushroom Observer also. I'm not sure. Sorry, Mushroom Expert. I use those two a lot. This kind of stuff is not documented in many of the hard copy field guides. It's just sort of too obscure.
Right. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a garden.
probably the Quebec site.
Dave, do you have Rivarden's book?
No, I don't.
It is there. Mhm.
What book is that? Varden's?
No, Rivarden, the guy from Sweden or somewhere there.
Oh,
A poor book.
no, I don't have it.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, I should probably get it.
It's worth
Well,
getting. The
Like I
Europe,
said, not all that exciting.
I think it's
some-
pretty cool.
Stuff stuck to a stick. It's probably been there for a few months. And then what's next here? Oh, my ongoing questioning of the recorded spore dimensions for turkey tail. So another rather sort of arcane sort of thing, I guess, you know. But I really think that the dimensions for spores, spore dimensions for Tremella versicolor probably goes back a long time. And all these people who write field guides and create sources online or whatever, I think they just recopy the same dimensions over and over and over because I keep seeing the same ones. And I consistently get larger spore length and width and this time, this particular Tremella, I did the section on the fruit body and you can plainly see the dark line beneath the surface of the cap, the tomentum, as they say, which is the hairy stuff on top.
I don't know why this is taking so long to load, Dave. I was having right before we started. I was trying to do something. With Mushroom Observer.
Sometimes Mushroom Observer is slow and difficult. It's probably Mushroom Observer.
Dave.
Yeah.
Somebody posted something about Trametes versicolor saying that it was a group. So maybe now they're finding there is just not one with the many colors.
Well, there's
Species.
this Tremella ocratia, but we've discussed that before. And every time I get spores from what seems to be Tremella, I mean, this really looks like Tremella versicolor. It definitely looks like it. And now the other thing is maybe during the cold months the spores are bigger. And I tried getting spores out of this species during cold weather, and I couldn't get anything to drop. But if you wait for the weather to turn warmer, see, there's that see that little dark line?
Yeah, that's pretty
Between
clear.
the
Pretty clear.
So that's pretty clear. And I've got a few other pictures as well that show it. But these spores are consistently up to about 7.5 microns in length. And what the reports all say is like up to like 5.5 microns. I mean, that's a really big difference. So there are the spores. They're not the most exciting things to look at, but there they are. And if you compare one of these spores to my scale, you have to adjust, okay? Because that's at 400 times magnification. So each of those gradations is actually 2.5 microns. So that's why, it might not look right. Okay, so there's that. Turkey tail, by the way, people use it to make tea. People use it to make tincture. It's supposed to have health-inducing benefits. I don't know of any look-alike that's problematic. I mean, Sterium does sort of look like Tremella, but I haven't heard of it being poisonous or anything like that. So then we also have, then there's these two species that are very easy to confuse. And you can find them both during cold weather, in the spring, in the fall. Decremices, Trisospermis, and Tremella, I think it's foliacean. I think that's the true.
Mesenterica.
Mesenterica. Yes, thank you. Tremella mesenterica. is the true witch's butter. Now, this is kind of old also, but it revived in the warmer weather and dropped a whole bunch of spores. So there's sort of a, not the best close-up in the world, but you get the idea here. Sort of a jelly fungus, very easily confused with Tremella mesenterica, or there's actually a few other Decremices species that look a little bit like it. But if you do some microscopy, once you see these spores, that's it. That just nails it. These spores are much larger than other Decremices species. They don't look at all like Tremella spores. The other thing is too that Decremices supposedly only grows on conifer, and Tremella mesenterica only grows on hardwood. Although I have heard people say that they have found Tremella on conifer. Okay, so here is apparently one of these tuning fork Basidia. So it's forked. It's like a tuning fork. That's another characteristic of Decremices, Trisospermis. But once you see the spores, that pretty much nails it. I just thought I'd try to find a few of these Basidium. And I had to search around for quite a while.
There is another thing, may I say it?
Sure.
That the base of Decremices Trisospermis is white.
That's, I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's where it attaches to the substrate. Supposedly is always white. I don't know if I even noticed that on this one. But I would trust these micro features. I would put a lot more trust in these micro features, especially the spore dimensions, the spore morphology, than something like the white base, because that sort of stuff can just sort of happen. There's another one of these tuning fork Basidia. This one's probably broken off at the base. So this was from a smash mount, so they probably got kind of broken up.
Dave?
Yes.
And only the Decremices have the fork tuning Basidia. The Tremella mesenterica is different.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the tuning fork.
Yeah, that's my understanding. Is that's another way to tell the difference. Mm-hmm. But the spore morphology kind of, as soon as you see those great big spores, the average length is over 20 microns, which is pretty big for any Basidiomycete really, except maybe a few of the boletes get to be that big. The spores, that is. Okay, so I got one more thing here, and this is probably just one of the forks in a Basidium. But I got one more thing. This was not something I found this year, but it's something I often find in spring, pretty early spring. There are different Mycena species that come out kind of early. And this one comes out really early. It's a cold weather mushroom. I think I found it in summer also, but during periods of time where the temperatures get down pretty low, maybe low 50s at night. So this is Mycena semivestipes. I'm pretty sure of the ID, even though there's a lot of Mycena species out there. There aren't too many that are going to come out this early. And one of the characters that I rely on for this one is that in between the gills looks kind of dark, and the gills are what we call subdecurrent. See how the gills are going down the stalk? They're attached to the stalk and they go down the stalk just a little bit. So I would call that subdecurrent. And that's a feature that I associate with this species. Also, the spores, I did get spores out of this collection, I believe, and I measured them, and the spore dimensions matched what I thought it was. And also with Mycena, spores are almost, if not all Mycena, most Mycena have amyloid spores, but you need to have Meltzer's reagent to be able to tell that. And I think I actually found a few cystidia here with this one. Let's see, because I know I wrote something down about cystidia. Yeah, I guess there's a few cystidia you see here. Yeah, they're kind of variously shaped. So cystidia are these cells that grow either on the edge of a gill, for a basidiomycete that is, on the edge of a gill or the face of a gill. These are probably from the edge of the gill, I'm not sure. So that would make them chylocystidia. But you can see here they're pretty distinctively shaped, but differently shaped.
Isn't
So
that common in Mycenas? The cystidia have these weird odd shapes.
yeah, I think
cystidia?
so. And a lot of the Mycena have cystidia that where they'll call them like finger-like projections. Like this one right in the middle of the screen here, it's got this little projection.
Right there.
I think that's probably what they're talking about.
All right, cool. Right.
Yeah, that's it. That's all I got for today. Okay, thanks.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Sure, you're welcome.
Okay. So it looked like Marisol, you were next.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna stop real quick, Marisol. I'm gonna mute everyone again. I'm starting to hear some echoing, so you'll just have to unmute yourself, okay?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I found this crossed in the Pine Barrens, but not in Franklin Park. This one was found under an abandoned pine plank, and it was really strange to me because it was growing on cordons, on rhizomorphs, as you can see on this picture. So I thought I found something really different. And then I did the microscopy, and I was fascinated with what I found, all these different shapes. Can you show the micro, please? But I didn't notice on the right side, upper right, the cross was more complete. Can you come back? On the right side, the cross is more even. Yeah. But I did ignore that. And it happened that it was a Coniophora species, but I couldn't tell. And then I did the microscopy. Can you show it? And so that I could not get it to shed the spore print. So I got the spores when I did prepare the slide. And the spores are brownish in water. And they have a pedicel is a little tip on the top of the spore, in this case, the way it is positioned. And sometimes they have drops of some oil, I think, inside. This one has two. Sometimes it has one big one. Can you show more, please? Another spore. I could only get one by one. And they have a very thick wall. This one is in oil, but my microscope doesn't give very fine, sharp images. So that's oil. And then I noticed that it has this inflated hypha at the septa, which means where there is that division among the cells. Can you point to that? Look. The hypha is inflated there, and it's short because the septa appears very close to others. Sometimes there is a big distance between the septa, and in this case, it's short. Show more, please. And when I realized that it was Coniophora arida, I went in the books to look for it, and it happened that in the notes, it says that there is a Coniophora arida variety suffocata. And the only difference with the regular arida is that the hypha has incrustations. So this one is Coniophora arida variety suffocata because of this. You can see the incrustation.
These things.
Yeah, it's like little pieces of mineral on the hypha.
Those little nuggets that are stuck to the.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty good micro photograph.
only for this, for 400. Anything else, it won't work. But it's clean, that's a good thing. And the Basidium is pretty long. You can see, and it has 4 stigmata. If anybody doesn't know, stigmata are the little tips where the spore is born. One is just right there. Can you point to it? Look, it's forming.
So,
and it has some contents inside, as you can see. This is with red Congo, or Congo red, was the right thing to say. Yeah.
so this is the spore right there,
Yes.
that little teeny tiny dot forming on the stigmata.
And I don't know if there are more photos.
Nope, that is it.
Oh, yeah. On an abandoned pine plank. I love abandoned pine planks because I find cool stuff on it. And I actually find 4 things right there on that plank. All right.
All right, everyone got that name right there?
Do you abandon the planks on purpose?
What did you say?
Do you abandon the planks on purpose?
No.
Because I've seen around, I wonder if it's not you.
Okay, so this one is in Franklin Parker along Berta's Canal. I was on there a maple tree, and there were a few branches on the ground. Boy, I found so many things on their edge. So when I saw this, I thought it was Trametes conchifer, the one Trametes that starts as a little cap. But then it looked suspicious to me. And when I look underneath, it was completely smooth. So then I said, this is not Trametes conchifer. This is the asexual stage of Michenera artocreas. It used to be called, I forgot the name, Lycostroma subgiganteum. So those are the coniospores, whatever name that is, so these little caps were almost empty. The rain and the air washed out the spores. And then I managed to find few, and I got the pictures to prove that it was what I was thinking. So yeah. But these days we call only using the sexual stages name. So it's a crust that is very particular because the 2 stages can be found together at the same time. So the asexual grows on the top of the branch, and the sexual, the crust itself, underneath the branch. So you can see one spore is mature and the other one is not. The lower one on the right is not mature yet. The darker one it is. This is in water, so they are colored. I think there is one more photo that I put there to show the crust, the sexual stage. Oh, more spores. And that's what you will find under the branches, on the underneath surface.
This stuff.
That's the crust itself.
Not that.
No, that's a lichen on top, right?
Right.
That's lichen.
Yes.
Wow, I didn't notice. This photo has both. It has, and the center, it has the cap full of the spores and then the crust around it.
Oh,
I didn't notice. This photo is from Tom Bigelow. I thought it was like a branch, like when you cut a branch, but it's the other. So both of them are present in this one.
Cool.
is that a parasite on the lichen?
No, no relation.
Okay.
Okay, this one was found along Berta's Canal, but I didn't see it until I came home and I was looking at the photos, and it's a crust. So this is supposedly a spider, 2 millimeters big, that was stuck on the crust, or it was resting on the crust, and this cordyceps fungus attacked the spider, and it covered it with like a cottony stuff, and then it shoot these match-like tips. So each little projection is made out of a kind of a head with a stipe or a stick. So apparently this is the asexual stage of Gibellula. I did the micro. So the brown part that you see is the head. And towards the left is this type. It's all mixed. It got all messed up. So there are two layers of sun shapes over the globulous shapes here. There are two layers of other parts, and the spores are born at the edge of the second layer. They have another name, Conidios, or something like that. You can see there, the head is the brown, and then the stalk goes towards the left.
I'm fascinated that basically the mushrooms seem to have like a defense system against the spider. That's so cool.
Okay, so this one is a crust, and many times it's called Basidium. Many times you find the sexual and the asexual stay together, but I almost never find them together. I always find one or the other. And this one was the sexual stage of Basidium. I can't remember the name. I put it in there, but I don't know it because it's my first time. And Basidium has hypha that is cylindrical with simple septa. Like if you have a row of sausages, yeah, connected. And it's a simple septa dividing these sausages. But this one was different because in the septa there was a clamp that was very, very funny looking, very unusual. I never found it before. I think I have better photos. So you can see you're very close to the clamps when are seen from the top. It's like a little inflated knee. You can call it that, like a knee, or you can see it from the side. And not too many Basidion species have the clamps. So it was kind of easy to narrow down to the species name that I found. It didn't shed the spores. I don't know why. So I have to find the spores when I did the preparation. And it has like 6 to 8 spores. You can see it on the left. They pile up like some kind of grapes. Yeah, that's the Basidia, the generative structure where the spores grow. Some more clamps. Some Basidia and some clamps.
So did you get a species name of that?
I do. I have it underneath. Didn't I write it? Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I got the species, but I don't know it because it's the first time that I found it. I'll have to correct that. Yeah. And these Basidium, they are so like thin. You can see it's almost transparent. And they love rotten wood. I found this one in Franklin Parker, but I wasn't not too lucky with it. Couldn't get anything in the slide. And the only thing is that it was growing on cedar, that it was fallen and covered with moss. And it was growing almost like on the top. And when you turn it, it's brownish, the pores. But notice the different zonations of showing growth stages. Can you show the other one, please? I am not 100% sure this is Heterobasidium annosum because the color of the pores is like beige, like pinkish, brownish. And as when I put KOH on it, it immediately turned dark brown. John and Nina, is it Heterobasidium or not?
Was it brown or was there any red tint to it?
On the pores?
Yeah.
It's kind of brownish, pinkish, yeah.
Were these staining?
I don't remember that.
Usually Heterobasidium stains, like bruises.
It does? Oh, I had to, yeah, I don't know if I wrote that down in there, but I read, what about the reaction with KOH?
I think it turns red with KOH, but I'm not 100% sure if I'm misidentifying that with a photopsis. It's what does rhodophomys look like on the top? I don't see that much, but it has those pink pores.
Oh no, I have found it, but it doesn't look like that. It's something else, yeah. Ah, but I look in that too. Thank you. Good idea.
What about that thing called smoky gill polypore? I mean, it's
Don't know that one.
just brainstorming.
That's a Jerkindera.
But yeah,
Oh, no, it's not that. No,
okay.
because the pores are grayish, smoky polypore. Yeah, it's not that one. Thank you, though. Thanks.
Oh, wow. To do some more work on that one, I guess, right?
Yep.
All right, and I think that was it for you, Marisol.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oops. Okay, so I think John and Nina was next. All right, are you there, Nina?
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. I put in some ASCOs.
Whoops. All right. Well, just.
Okay, that's not. Okay, Marisol and I found this at Franklin Park several years ago about this time, and it was a wet area that had dried out and it had this lichen on top of it, and it's Multiclavia vernalis. It's very, very small.
Actually, the green is algae. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, is it algae? I think.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought.
No, no lichen. It's algae. Yeah.
But there's some lichens there too, I think.
But isn't it thought that these are lichenized, like with the algae?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think they grow with both of them. Yeah.
Multiclavola.
Yeah.
That's what I think I'm remembering that right. That genus is generally thought to be like a Basidio lichen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's like a relationship between that mushroom and that algae.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there was some lichen stuff there too, and some moss.
Now, I'm sorry, I didn't hear if you said it.
It was an area that had totally dried out. It had dried out and it was like crusty on top.
Is this the ground?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
No, it was right near what is it called? Near that
Blue hole?
Lake, the hole there, the sand pit there.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that area. So, okay, now this is my ASCO, and this actually is if you ever pick blueberries, you get a little mummy blueberries, which is like the blueberries sort of dried up. And you can't eat it. It's kind of not very, yes, it's a mummy. and it is caused by this little cup fungi, which is at the top of the picture. You got to push it down. You got to push it down.
Where? Show it to us.
Wow.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, man.
It's tiny. Okay, what happened was I was walking along in Franklin Park, and there were a lot of blueberries on a path, and I took this photograph because I thought the moss was real cool. And then I got back and I saw this tiny little fungi. I thought, oh, what is that? And Gene Varney was still alive at that time, and I said to him, and he said it was this tiny little cup fungi that causes the mummyberry. So this is the fertile part of it, and the mummyberry, I think, is the non-fertile, the asexual.
did you find it along the water where you pick up the blueberries?
This was over on the Baytona Trail, off of the main highway going in near that bridge. Yeah, that there, along there. Along
That like stretch.
yeah, near the lake.
Okay.
Lake.
Got it. Okay, cool.
So that fungus, that's a pretty bad agriculture problem, isn't it? They have to treat the blueberries pretty intensively, I think.
Right, and it particularly for domesticated blueberries, the wild ones aren't as susceptible.
And I had read that they said that for organic blueberries, somebody has to manually go in there and collect all those mummy berries out of there for, like, you know, culture control.
These were,
Yeah, because they'll drop on the ground, and then they do the cycling. But these,
Yeah.
I never noticed that these. I think that the wild ones aren't as susceptible as the ones that they cultivated for those beautiful big blueberries.
Yeah, they probably learn to live with it.
Yeah.
You find those in fruit bodies in spring?
Yes. Now, the end of April, May. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be a little later here. We have a lot of blueberries around here.
Right.
these are wild berries. I don't think that place was ever cultivated.
No, I don't. Probably not.
Yeah.
Okay, and then this is a little. Oh, it looks sort of greenish, and not really greenish. It's sort of black with a little frosty looking. I don't know why they look green in this picture. Anyway, this is a Mycena, and I put the we call it Megaspora. Now, I guess what we have to do one day is do the DNA to really check and make sure that's what it is. But it comes every spring. It comes in a sphagnum moss, and it's real dark brown, blackish on the cap, and there's always a little sort of frost, like white frosty, like dust on the top of the cap, and then the beautiful white gills at the underneath. So it's Mycena.
I think I might find this in moss, but I wouldn't find it probably until May.
It comes in April. Yeah, April.
Yeah, well, it's you probably get stuff earlier than I do.
Right.
I don't know if I've put a species name on those, if they're the same thing, but that looks similar to what I find. I find them in moss. Usually, like there's usually some of those really small gallerinas here and there.
Right.
Along with
Right.
them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And the ones that I've called Megaspora, I mean, they have huge spores on them. They're like, I don't know, like 15 or 20 microns wide.
Well, I haven't died. I need to get some this spring, because I looked at the spores way back, and I need to. I think we should do DNA on this thing and see what the heck it is. It might be something totally different, but it is a Mycena.
All right. So what else do you have?
I have now. Okay, now I'm sorry. This is another ASCO. Okay, so this one appears with a plant. The one in the middle. What that? This is a Metrula Spora, because the spore and this one, I don't know what's the difference. If you go to keep on going to the next one, it always grows when this thing blooms. You look in the water where this thing's blooming, and you'll find those little tiny little match, little match. What do they call a match thing? Matchbox.
But this photo is something else, though, right?
No, this is a plant. But
oh, that's a
when
plant.
this blooms. If you're walking in pine barrens and you see this bloom, look for the mushroom, because you will find the mushroom in the water right on the edge. That one or the other one. There's that one.
Elegans, I think
this
it is.
This is an elegans.
Yeah.
Right. And but they have different spores. And I can't tell, you really can't tell the difference very much. I mean, Maricel and I have looks at them. Can you tell? You can't really tell without looking at spores, Maricel, right?
No, you can't tell without looking at the spores.
Yeah.
But sometimes the Lunulatospora has a little pinkish tone.
Right.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
if you
also,
don't do the micro,
Nina,
I won't believe you in iNaturalist. You have to show that you did the micro in order to get an ID.
Which is what I have shown in the next two slides.
Okay, okay.
Nina, I think you pointed out maybe last year that one of these species tends to be found more under conifers and the other under hardwoods.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, I remember it is not true because I found them in the park near my house in Smithville. There are no conifers.
Okay.
So there is no relation. They like to grow in very gentle bodies of water and seepages too.
Uh-huh.
That's what it says on the books, and that's what I have seen, and we see in Franklin Park.
Right.
Mhm.
Now this should be the one. This has a little curve. See the little curve right there in the middle? It's got these spores have little curves to them. You have to kind of look at all the different spores because if you get them head on, they don't look curved. But if you look at the side one, it's curved. See, it's got a little, just a little curving. Yeah. Like a moon, I guess. Yeah. Right.
So that's the Lunatospora.
Yeah. Right. And then the next one is the where are they?
Elegance.
Yeah, elegance. Yeah, see those are straighter. Yeah, they're straighter. You don't find a curve on those. So that's the difference, but you have to have a microscope to tell.
That's pretty subtle.
Right.
It is, at least
It
it's easy to remember.
Yeah.
The moon-shaped spores are the Lunatospora.
Yeah, you got to look at a lot of spores.
All right, cool.
Okay.
All right. So then, all right, close out on my email again. So I think that was everything for you, right, Nina?
Yep.
All right. Then I had some stuff. So I went and I picked out only rust fungi because I really enjoy looking at rust fungi in the spring. And I'm always surprised, well, not surprised, I know that they're Basidios, but I was quite surprised to learn that these are Basidios. When you first look at them, you automatically assume that they're Ascos. So I have, I think every single one of these species that are on here are in the class they call Pucinia, which is in the Basidiomycota. Although I had read that the DNA might have put this somewhere else kind of recently, the lotus. It used to be called Pucinia podophyllii, but I think it may have gotten changed. So these things have these like really complicated life cycles to them. And in the spring, they come up out of the ground. The spores tend to overwinter. Like they have these teleospores that overwinter on like debris, and in the spring they come up and they cause these pustules on like fresh plants. So this is Pucinia marii wilsonii, and this only grows on spring beauties. So you see these spring beauties, what are they called? Claytonia marii, I think, something like that. Claytonia, I think, is the species name of the plant, but we call them spring beauties. And these little pustules grow on them in the springtime. See, don't they look like an asco, like little cup fungi? But they're actually Basidios. If you look at these under a microscope in the right stage, you'll see that they have Basidia. Some of these things have like 5 different sporulation stages, and they're all different types of spores, but at one point they do have Basidia. So, yeah, that's that one. Only on the spring beauty do we find that one. Now this one, I have two examples of this one, the Gymno Sporangium Clavies. This one starts out in the spring on Atlantic red cedar, the what is that, the Virginii, that plant. So it just looks like this stuff, this orange massy stuff growing on the juniper trees. So it looks in my hand there. Sometimes it gets a lot bigger than that. Sometimes you find it like big gigantic whole crust of it like covering the trunks of these trees. But more often than not, I usually see it as like a small little things like this. So this was taken in, let me see, what was the date on this? This was taken on April 24th of last year when it looked like that stage. And then
Before it looks like this jelly stuff, it looks like acorns, and the acorn-like things break apart, and that stuff comes out.
oh yeah,
Now, there's another species though that I found on cedar in our yard, and that's a destructive.
I'll get to that one.
Oh, it's okay. So
Yeah.
I don't know if this one makes the acorn-like things. I would
So
imagine it does because it's probably pretty similar to the other one.
Well, here's
I'll
what
wait till you get to the other one.
So here's what this one looks like about 2 months later. The first one was on April 24th. Now this is the same species in June. This is on, I think, a calorie pear. It attacks like apples and pears and stuff like that. Things in the Rosea family. So these are the little tiny calorie pears, and they form these like little finger-like projections on them. And then that's the next round of spores that are coming out. And those spores will, I think, land on the leaves of these trees and grow yet another fruiting body that produces a spore that overwinters. Some of these things have, I think, like 5 different states or 5 different types of spores that come out through the year. So see how they're like these like long tubes. So that's what those little globules end up looking like in a couple months on a different plant. There's always 2 plants with these species.
Crazy.
It is crazy. Now this is the one I think Dave was just probably talking about, Sporangium Juniper Virginii. This one bounces back and forth.
That's the one.
Yeah, this one bounces back and forth, and I don't have a picture of it on an apple tray. But you see this in the spring, these crazy looking, like octopus looking things. And they're like kind of like gelatinous. If you feel it, if you touch it, it's all like, you know, kind of like a rubbery gelatinous mess.
And that stuff starts out all like compacted inside this little acorn looking thing.
Yeah, you're right. I have seen that. I don't have any photographs of it. Like the interior of this is like an acorn looking.
I've got some Mushroom Observer posts for this. If you look up the species on Mushroom Observer, you'll find my posts.
Okay. So those are my 2 Gymnosporangiums. Now this one, the way I was going to mention, the way to identify these pretty quickly is a lot of them are really host specific. So if you can identify the plant that they're on, you often will get a species or at least a group of species that you can work on. So this one grows on Mayaples, Alodus podophyli. I only have one photograph of it. It's on the undersides of Mayapple leaves. So you know the Mayaples you always see in the spring. If you lift them up, you will often find this one growing underneath. And I have no idea what the rest of the life cycle is of this one, what it jumps around with. All right. This one, Canolia iridensis, yeah. This one grows on blackberries. I think this is actually one that is problematic for blackberry growers. Pale bramble rust, they call it. You just find it growing on the stems of these blackberries. There's a couple of them that actually grow on the blackberries, but this one got some consensus on iNaturalist as a species.
Is it the red stuff or the yellow, or is it yellow inside? Well, I
I'm
don't
sorry.
understand.
Oh, it's just the orange stuff. So the red stuff that you see around there is inflamed tissue.
Oh,
It's the orange stuff, you know. So I guess that's why they call them rust fungi, because they all tend to have that orangish color.
oh.
This
So-
stuff on this one is just really powdered. It just causes these big giant, you know,
Oh.
fissures in the canes of your blackberry plants.
Huh. Even on wild ones or only?
Yeah, these were wild.
Oh, okay. I gotta look at those.
But I think this is an agricultural pest too.
Mhm.
A lot of these are agricultural problems. Okay. And this one, I wasn't as confident about the species on this one. This one, Phragmidium rosea multiflora. So it grows on multiflora roses. Once I started digging into it a little bit deeper, I learned, of course, that there's a couple different ones that grow on there, and you really have to do microscopy. But I'm pretty sure it's a Phragmidium species, which is in that whole, what are they called? The Pucinomycetes. So. When did I photograph that one? Oh, April 25th. So almost all of these have been in April, seems like. And the last one on here, I know I think I just showed this one a couple weeks ago. We're just talking about interesting finds from last year. This grows on Star of Bethlehem, Pucinia Lilac. So Star of Bethlehem's that like kind of pesky invasive flower that you find in the woods and in your lawns. But it's, you see, it's growing this orange stuff with these little pustules on it. Here. And those pustules are where the spores are coming out of. But this one I included again this week, only because I photographed some of the spores. And I'm not sure what kind of spore that is, where it's at in there. I think, what do they call these?
Conidiospores?
These dark orange spores called Uridinospores. Uridinospores, I think that's what they're called. They have these tails on them. One of the identifying factors is measuring these little tails.
Mhm.
There's a better shot of the pustule like breaking open. And then that red stuff is where all the spores are coming out of. There you go. All right, so all of those rust fungi, those are all in the Basidios. All right, that's it for me. I know I saw at least one more comment. Oh, I'm sorry, Audrey, that the thing's been destroying your blackberries. Reading the comments now. Okay, did I see? Oh, Lauren. Lauren, do you want to share something? And John said the ones on pears he thought were different. I think he was referring to me. Oh, it'd be pretty cool if that was a different one. So somebody, John, I don't know if it was John Plishke who made that comment, suggested that that one that I was calling Clavies might be called Gymno Sporangium sabiniae. Was that John? You're saying that? All right, maybe John's not with us anymore.
Look.
I'm here.
All right.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay, I hear you. Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's not related to the topic, but I found this on Sunday. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So I think that this is chaga. I just wanted to check with you guys. I think this was a yellow birch. And I do have some pictures that are closer up, but this was kind of a shot that shows the whole lot of it. I didn't take any of it. It was really small. And I'm kind of curious, how many of you find chaga? How often do you find it? Are there rules that you follow about when you take it or don't take it? Like I've heard you shouldn't take it when it's small. Do you have any thoughts on that matter? And do you think that this is chaga?
Where'd you find that at?
That's chaga. That's a
Okay.
yellow birch, and that's chaga.
Yeah.
And it looks like there was a much bigger one on this tree at one time.
You think so?
Yeah, and it was harvested, and now there's a little bit still. So the fungus is probably still in there, under the bark, I guess, or it regenerated or something. The fungus grows under the bark. The wood gets infected, and the chaga canker is sort of like it's like a scab, sort of. It's like the tree trying to heal itself from this infection. And it's not the actual fungus, but although there are, I believe, mycelium running through the. It's actually, no, I'm sorry. It's actually a sclerotium.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, see how there's this big hollowed out part of this tree trunk? That was probably a big chaga. Somebody
Like
may have
right
harvested
here?
most of it.
Like where my arrow is?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I was kind of wondering if somebody maybe took it. And Luke, how specific do you want me to be about where I found it?
I mean, no, did you find it in northern Jersey or is this in the Adirondacks? Or?
Yeah, central northern.
Central northern,
Okay.
more central-ish, but you know how that goes. It's confusing.
I was just curious. I don't think we see that in New Jersey very often. I
So
don't.
I have
I
found
see a
it.
lot of it in Pennsylvania.
Okay, I have found it a couple of times. I found it, the first time I found it was last year and it was large. And we did harvest that one. It was a pretty huge chunk. And for those of you who haven't tried it, we make tea out of it and it's delicious, especially when you add a little bit of vanilla extract. But the ones that I have found since have been small. So I'm curious, is that true? Do you not take it if it's small? Does it matter if you take it? I mean, I have enough left over from last year. I don't need to take any more right now, but I am curious what you guys think about all of the rules.
Excuse me for 1 second. What's the name so I can write it on the chat? Felinus obliquus.
In a notice?
Philonodus obliquus.
Obliquus, yeah.
That double U.
Yeah.
It's got 2 U's in a row.
Yeah, I got it. Oh,
So
I
you
missed
find
it.
it often?
Oh, somebody did already. Okay.
So to answer your question, Lauren, about the rules of harvesting it, I don't know if I don't really collect it myself. I do know a lot of people talk about the idea of it being over harvested right now because everybody's really into it. So I personally would be conservative about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I have. The few that I've seen that have been small, I just leave. The one that I did take was huge. Okay.
But
We
the
take it
only-
when you can knock them right off the tree with the blunt end of an axe or a rock. But if it's really embedded in there and we don't chop them out, some people chop them right out of the wood. That's no good. That kills the tree.
No, but the tree's already infected. It's going to die.
No, it's not necessarily going to die. The tree is trying to heal itself.
Oh,
But this one looks pretty bad, though, honestly. This tree looks like it's in pretty bad shape. There's a lot of damage.
So what was really, well, not that interesting, but there were lots and lots of yellow birches and birches in general in this park. And I was looking the whole time. This was the only one that I found chaga on. But it was funny because I had to walk, I saw it from a distance. So I had to walk into the woods to find this. And then I looked down and I found a dog collar with an ID tag on it. So I texted the owners saying, hey, I found your dog's collar. And of course I was thinking to myself, why would this collar be right underneath some chaga? I'm thinking these people must have been looking at the chaga or something. So I texted them and I said, do you guys forage wild mushrooms by any chance? Because I found your dog's collar under some chaga, and they said no. So it was kind of weird. I feel like the universe drew me over to this tree just to, find that dog collar for those people. So that's my story.
Dave, like at this point, I was surprised of what she said, that there are many of these three there in the area, but only one was infected. And the thing is that at this stage of the fungus, it cannot infect other trees. And only when the tree dies is when the fruiting body appears, which produces the spores.
Oh, okay. So this is like a precursor to the fungus getting underneath the bark.
It's killing the tree, and when the tree falls down, when it dies, is when you can find the polypore.
Well, sometimes the tree survives this. There's a tree at Ricketts Glen right now that's got it's a nice big old yellow birch, and it's got a chaga growing about 30 feet up the trunk. So nobody's going to harvest it. And so I will try to take a picture of it. I took a picture of it last year. Last year was the first time we saw it. And it's at a really convenient part of a trail, only 100 yards or so up the trail. So from where you park the car. So I'm going to try to get a picture of it, 1 or 2 pictures every year, and see, and specifically see what happens to the tree.
Okay, well, that's it for me. Thank you guys for letting me show it.
All right, you're welcome. And that was relevant to our conversation because this does fall into the Basidios.
Oh, good. Okay, nice.
It's a polypore. Okay. So Penny asked what the fruiting body looks like. So you should probably just Google it to see it. There's not that many photographs of it, but because it's one of those resupinate polypores and it grows under the bark. So it's like a flat polypore thing that grows under the bark of the birch. So not that commonly seen. And then Bianca wants to know what it tastes similar to. Anybody want to jump in there?
It's kind of pleasant. The tea is pleasant tasting. I usually put some brown sugar in.
Yeah. It tastes like wood. It really tastes like takes on
It's like wood.
It does. I grind it up and make tincture from it. I make alcohol and extraction tincture. And I drank it just by making tea. Make it really strong, very woody tasting, like you're drinking wood. So I put cherry syrup in it, like tart cherry, just to sweeten it up a little bit. But I really just put a couple cc's of tincture in a big glass of water every morning, and I have that.
All right, cool. All right, and then I think, oh, it looks like Bianca has something she wanted to share. You want to go, Bianca?
Sure, thank you. Let me get it open. So it was this particular mushroom was growing basically as if in the tree. I'm not familiar with the types of trees yet, working on it, And it was growing in almost like as if the rainwater rivulets were going through like the bark of the tree. It's like the mushroom was deposited right into that those rivulets. And I don't know why I didn't paste. Let's try that again. Actually, I'll just show it here. This will be easier. All right, so I will share the screen with this one. Let's try this. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see if I can move it over. There we go. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So you can see, I don't know if I can zoom in. Let's see if this works. Oh, okay, it works. Okay, so yeah, it's growing right in those, as if the water was going down through the parts of the bark that was inside, and the mushroom was growing right on the inside of that. And it looks, that's the outside distance shot. Oh, that's me. This is the top of the mushroom. It sort of looks like a turkey tail Tremella. And the underside is this. Let me see if I can zoom in a little to make a better view. There we go. All right. So it's got this milky-ish kind of base to it, soft. And then very, very much a polypore, I believe. And it had this coloration going darker away from it. Thoughts?
I think a couple people have suggested Tricaptum biforme, which doesn't seem unreasonable.
What is it called again? Can you spell it for me?
It's
Or
in
is
the
it
it's in the chat.
in the chat? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see the chat currently, so
What
that's good.
happened there is old, so it's kind of bleached and dry.
Oh, okay, so it's older.
So when younger, it has purple edges.
All right, let me get that name. It has purple edges, you said? That's nice.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
It has more color than where it is showing now because it's probably old. It's kind of bleached. Yeah.
And that's the mushroom that I always search for, the Phaeocalicium polyporium on, the tiny little matchsticks. And I usually find them. I found some this weekend. I didn't send it in, but you know, they're so fun. You can't see them with the naked eye, but if you take your loupe and start looking at the tops of those, you'll almost always find them if that's a Tricaptum.
That's fascinating. Is it, so it's separate, a different type of mushroom growing on top of it? Am I understanding that right?
Yeah.
Yes, it's a tiny little mushroom that grows specifically on this polypore. And I don't know what, who knows about Phaeocalicium? It's just a little matchstick with a ball on the end. I don't know about it specifically.
Yep, they call it fungicolous fungi because it's eating other fungus. And somebody told me, not just somebody, it was the lichenologist guy from up in New York. He told me that they were all lichenized at one time, and these particular ones gave up their lichenization partner in preference to eat other fungi. That was oh man, what's his name? The guy from the New York Botanical Gardens.
James?
Yeah, James Londemere. He said that. He said that at one time they were all lichenized, and some species have given up their algae partners to eat other fungi.
It's kind of interesting the way it grows on the polypore. It's like in rows towards the edge.
Yeah, out on the growing edge, right?
Yeah, that's so hilarious. Yeah.
The ones I found like a day or two ago, they were sort of scattered all over the top outer edge. Very not. Sometimes you see them right in a line, but these were just sort of all over the place. I don't know. They're
What's
fun
the
to find.
So I can write it and people can check it out. Polycephalus. What's the name?
Phaeocalicium.
Oh, no, Polycephalus. Oh, I don't know how to write that. I don't know how to write it. Can you write it, Luke?
Yeah.
Please.
I will.
Didn't it used to be called Polycephalus? Tomentosus?
No, I think that might be something else.
No, that must be something else. This is Phaeocalicium polyporium.
No, it's yeah, that was the name before. They changed it. Yep. But I don't know the new name. I can't write it.
Here you go. This is the name I learned it from years ago. I've never heard it really called anything else. Okay.
Look, if you're able to go into my iNat, you could see some pictures of it.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. And then I think Brandon had something. Here.
Yeah.
Let me show this thing real quick, and then we'll go right into yours. I just have to remember how to use iNat. There we go. Okay, what's your name in iNat? Oh, there it is.
Case Pro.
So you have 16 observations of it. You must really like this stuff.
I love it. I always look for it.
All right. So
These were more like whiskers.
So you can see that this is the mushroom. These are the same mushrooms that we were just looking at a minute ago. And then see these little black things sticking out of it? Here's a good picture of them. All right, there we go. That's Phaeocalicium polyporium.
That's my treasure hunt always.
Awesome, thanks for sharing. Okay, Brandon, you said that you had something you wanted to share.
Yeah, nothing too exciting. That was really cool though. All right, and am I sharing?
Not yet. There you go.
All right, so some jelly fungus that I found, I guess, still in the Basidio region, but would this be considered a spring mushroom in any way? I mean, I normally find it in the fall, but this was a pretty fresh specimen.
Yeah, it seems like the stuff like these jellies like to come out whenever it's like cool and wet. It seems like it.
Yeah, it's a Exidia crenata, used to be Exidia recissa, or they both might occur in North America.
I had recissa down, but
yeah, it's probably what that is. I find it most often in the spring.
okay,
It's a cool weather mushroom.
gotcha.
I found some of that this weekend too, though, looking very fresh and lovely.
Yeah, this one, it doesn't look so great in the photo here, but it had a good jiggle going to it, so it was pretty fresh.
Yeah, it's very jiggly. That's a good way to describe it. And that's one way to distinguish it from auricularium. which is not so jiggly.
And Auricularia, is that the wood ear?
Yes,
Yeah, gotcha. And I
that
thought,
also comes out in spring, usually a little bit later, but I find them both at the same time.
yeah, and at first I thought this little kind of lower portion that could
Mhm.
possibly be that, but
Mhm.
I think it's the amber jelly, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
And-
It's Exidium.
And one more point to differentiate from the auricularia. Auricularia has different texture on the outside and on the inside.
Yeah, it's got like a
It's just
matte
everywhere.
finish on the
Yeah.
one side.
Yeah.
Not, it wouldn't glisten as much. It's a little more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Firm. Yeah, it's more
It's
firm.
almost fuzzy, yeah.
And then, so is this going to be a slime mold or is this some kind of rust fungus?
Can you blow it up a little bit?
That's a metatrichia. I can see down on the far left lower, you can see the little pores where they've come out.
Gotcha.
Is that the wasp nest slime mold?
Sparium. Metatrichia
Yeah.
vesparium.
So it is a slime mold then.
What was it called? Metatrichia what?
Vesparium, which means
Oh, yeah.
like a wasp. Vesparium.
That's very cool.
What is that it's growing on? Is that wood? I can't tell. Is it wet?
So this is a rotten stump. Pretty sure hardwood. It was so far gone, but I'm pretty sure it's hardwood. And then the next item that I found was on the same actual rotting.
Ganoderma.
Yeah, it's a Ganoderma species. It looks like it's trying to come in. Would that be trying to come in now, or
It's
would
the
this be
new one.
left over?
No, that's the beginning.
Yeah,
Beginning.
yeah.
What kind of wood is that?
Again, it was so far rotten that I can't be 100%.
Yeah, but I see there are no pine needles, no conifers around.
It was hardwood all throughout. There was
Oh,
a
yeah,
little,
It
little
could
bit of hemlock through here and there, but pretty much hardwood.
It could be courtesy.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then,
it's starting to have that nice color, doesn't it have that pink bluish look to it, or is that just the photo?
no, it definitely had that, to the eye as well. And that's why I took the photo. This is very small. I mean, is this about maybe a ½ inch, the one in the center here. And then this one was maybe a ½ inch over here, coming out on the side. But definitely a Ganoderma. And again, I'm not sure if that's going to be fruiting probably in the next couple weeks or in the next maybe month, or if it's going to be happening in the next couple days.
No, I think it takes some time.
Tomorrow's raining.
Yeah. On and off throughout the week, right? All I have you here, I don't know. So this looks like a really cool pale crust fungus that I also found.
Yeah.
Yeah, we call the biscuit. Biscogniaxia.
Atropunctata.
So is that Bisicordium? Is that what you said?
Biscogniaxia.
No, it's the biscuit.
Atropunctata. I probably spell it wrong, but it's something like that.
I got to get back to the chat.
Yeah, it's Biscog, C-O-G.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, I put the U in the wrong place. Okay. Biscogni. Something close.
That's close. That's close.
Well, that's all I got. So thank you. Appreciate you guys.
Oh, well, what about that Nectria thing that was next?
So I wasn't sure what to even call that. I've never come close to identifying something like that. For some reason, I can't get back there.
We used to call them all Nectria, but now there's so many different things.
We're talking down here, right?
No, that's not Netria. I know the name. Oh, I found it. I have the name. One
Are you
second.
talking in the upper left here?
No,
No,
that's
the orange stuff on the
orange
bottom.
stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know the name. Let me just I find it.
I actually didn't want to include that because I wasn't even sure if that was an ASCO or a Basidio.
Oh, man, I don't remember. John Pliske, are you there? Giro. Oh man, what's the name? John
I'm
Pliske.
here.
Do you remember the name? Giro. No, I can't remember.
I can't.
You know that name.
I can't see what it is enough, clear enough.
Yeah. Endotia girosa. Endotia girosa.
Yeah, but it's not called that anymore.
Okay, Melogramma girosum.
Okay, that sounds better.
Okay, I'll write it. Melogramma girosum. Girosum. All right.
Maricel, what is that though? Is it an ASCO?
Yeah.
Oops,
It's not. What happened?
we're supposed to be doing Basidios.
Oh, but we're learning.
Yeah, but somebody saw this and got excited. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody got excited about it. I wish I had found it last week. It would have been better, but
Marin Mom. Wait, I probably wrote the wrong name. But if
What
you,
what was at the top that you were concerned that you had the picture for?
so I was just actually looking at this crust fungus up top here. And it was growing kind of in a cool way together with this, and that's why I took the photo. I didn't think I was going to include the orange stuff down here, but I was just more concerned with this crust up here than anything else.
Endotia girosa. No, it's not clear.
And I don't have the technology to take some pictures of spores or anything like that yet, but I'll get back there and make some better photos for you the next time I'm over there.
What does this say? Oh, no, we went back. Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
that's all I got.
All right, cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I think somebody emailed me something. So I will. Okay, Deborah, are you there? Or I'm sorry, maybe it's Tom.
Hey, Luke, it's Tom.
Hi, Tom.
Good evening, everyone. So
Okay.
I went on a hike March 10th at the Black River. It was like the meltdown day. All the snow was finally going down away. And I came across what appears to be a Lityperus.
Your sound is really low.
Okay, Maricel, is that better?
Yeah, a little higher. Yeah.
So this was the underside. This is the pore surface. It appears to be have mold all over it. Now this was the side I saw while walking. I did not expect to see such a vibrant colored mushroom at this time of year, but clearly it's been there a while. I would say it's either late fall Lytiporus or early winter that froze and continued to be frozen until it melted. But it was the pore surface has mold, black mold. It looks like on it, and I guess it could be a Phyolius, an old species of that. But there was nothing else around it. It was
But-
only by itself.
You're saying that this is the pore surface, but this is the cap surface.
That's
Yeah,
the pore-
that's what I'm wondering. This is the cap, right?
Cap, yeah, the top.
This is the cap. This is the underside of the pileus of the cap.
And the orange is the underneath.
That's the top of the cap. That's the top.
No, you found it like not attached to the wood?
No, it was on a vine, but it wasn't really attached.
Okay, so this is the pore surface.
Okay.
The more intense color looks like the pore surface to me. Look, what do you think?
I don't know. I was wondering if this is an old Inonotus hispidus.
Oh.
It's not a lot of pores. Like those chicken of the woods, they get like real white and chalky and flaky by now. I don't think it's that. I think that might be the pore surface, and that's the top, and it's all hairy.
Oh, I see.
Like an old Inonotus.
Okay.
Aren't those things really hairy and kind of orangish?
Yeah, I never saw one.
Yeah, I think they are. I think the hispidus means hairy, I believe. And I believe they are orange.
Although, do they last through the winter like that?
I don't know. I don't find those. You don't think that's a secondary growth on there, do you?
That's quite possible.
Could be attacked because look at the edge. The color on the edge is not as intense as towards the other part.
Yeah, that's the way those Inonotus kind of look. They have like that white outer edge and like a deeper orange. That's just a guess, though. It's hard to say when you're looking at this stuff in the spring.
Yeah, it's definitely not Laetipores.
Yeah, that stuff's really unique looking
Yeah,
when you see it this time of the year.
Chicken of the woods. Those get pure white, and when you try to pick one now, if you find one now and you try to harvest it, it just crumbles apart.
Like chalk.
Yeah, like chalk.
I was totally confused by this one.
All right, so what else you got here?
Now this is most likely an Asco, although I'm not sure. I believe it's a beech nut. I was in a heavy beech forest, and it has a fungal growth on it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
No clue.
Not a beech nut.
Oh no, okay.
No,
Thank
beech
you.
nut is like pointy with like 3 parts.
Yeah,
This
beech
looks-
nut is like a triangular sort of polyhedron, sort of.
But they do have those husks on them. I don't know if you'd still find a husk now, but those things are encased in a husk that kind of looks like that.
You think this might be a gall?
I actually was thinking that too, Dave.
Yeah, I don't know what this stuff is that's growing out of the crack, though. I mean, that seems pretty interesting.
Well, it does look like some kind of a gall, but that crack is curious.
Is gall what they call one of those wasp kind of fruits?
Yeah, an insect burrows into a stem of a plant and like causes an infection, and then this gall forms, and then the insect actually lays its eggs in and there'll be like a larva inside the gall.
And
That's
would this,
the way that usually works.
and if that's the case here, would this, the casing of this kind of turn transparent almost? Or would it stay looking like it is now?
No, it stays brown. They stay brown.
Yeah,
and
but there's
kind of like,
there's so
paper
many.
crusty.
I would say there's so many different types of galls. There's thousands and thousands of them.
Yeah,
out
there's a
there.
lot of different kind of galls. That's true.
I think they're pretty poorly understood too and documented.
Did you open it? Did you see what was inside?
I did not. I should have. I wish I did, but no. next time.
All right, let's see what else you got.
And this was about the only other curious thing I found on March 10th, 2 weeks ago. I wanted to call this it's almost a trichaptum biform, but I never saw this bright red, bright pink fuchsia color coming from the pore surface, the underside.
Was it like rubbery looking? It almost looks like marulioid or something.
Yeah, like a phlebia of some sort.
Plevia,
Yeah, like.
Yeah, that's an old
plebia.
Plebia.
plevia tremelosa.
What's the other one that, is that the one that forms caps?
Plevia radiata, but it doesn't form caps. Only tremelosa does.
Okay, oh, so that's tremelos is the one that forms caps.
Yeah, with the
Okay.
white caps. Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably what it is then.
It got frost or something and it retained the color because it's really unusual, so intense.
Yes, exactly. That's what struck me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. Always good to see everyone.
Nice to hear you.
Great, thank you. All right, so is there anybody else?
That went good.
that
Nobody
has
could
anything?
Nobody, everybody's like, what the hell is that?
All right. There we go. Okay, does anybody else have anything they want to share tonight?
John, you don't have anything to show?
Yeah, come on, John.
Yeah, my iNat stuff, my uploader tool is not working right now.
Okay, bummer.
You don't have to upload it. You can just open it on your screen and share it. Like
I guess
this.
I could do. I could show you one that I saw this week. Let me open it up. Screen share. Where's screen share?
At the bottom of this, when you have the Zoom open, there's a green button.
You cannot share. It says I cannot share. What other participant is sharing?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's how I was having a hard time with my computer.
Oh.
There you go.
Where's it at? Huh. Not like the screen, whiteboard. Oh, right here. Share. Let me get it. Is it up now?
We're just seeing your thumbnails right now.
Oh, okay. We have to share the big one.
Right.
I was gonna say, sometimes it helps at this point, John, if you stop sharing and then reshare again.
Okay, let me stop sharing. Can't get it open. Where is the screen? Zoom.
Sometimes what happens is the Zoom goes into a small box and there's a green arrow on the box and you can click on that and that gets to be full screen again.
Can't get it up. Meeting controls. I can't get it. I'm stuck.
Do you have the zoom in the full screen?
Do you have the Zoom on? Okay. Yeah, it won't open up. I think I'm locked up. Pin Zoom. Yeah, won't let me. I think I'm stuck.
Sorry, John.
Okay.
Thanks.
Let me
Thanks
close this
anyway.
out.
So,
Oh, I got it. Hold it. I got it. Okay, I got it. So I gotta go to share screen. Right here. There it is.
there we go.
Nice job.
Cool beans.
Yeah.
What is that?
That is, let me get the name of it up. It is, what I do with it.
Sclerofolia.
Oh, you can see it? Okay.
Yeah, at the top. Yep.
We found that last week, over the weekend. It's the Mascos growing on big tooth aspen.
So we're looking at the two black clusters on either side of that lichen, right?
Yes.
Huh, that's pretty wild.
I've never seen it before. Kara called her. She let her walk and she says, I got this unusual one to show you on aspen. Let's go over here. And I said, oh, wow. I never saw that before.
She finds some interesting stuff. I follow her on Facebook. She has some interesting identifications.
Yeah, that's one of her finds on aspen near the Pittsburgh airport.
Now that black fungus, is it hard or is it soft? Can you describe it?
It's soft. It's like an asca, pretty soft.
Oh, very cool.
That's the only thing unusual I've seen recently.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for sharing, John. All right. So does anybody else have anything they want to share before we wrap up for the night? Seems like we've come to the end of our mushrooms, right? All right. So next week we are supposed to be doing members' finds for like the month of March. So I would implore everyone to get outside and start looking now. It's been I'm in Philadelphia and it's been pretty warm and mild. So there should be some interesting stuff starting to grow. You might have to dig around a little bit in the leaves and flip over some logs and whatnot, but we're going to start seeing stuff. So that's what next week is. And then we're supposed to, at the beginning of April, just kind of return back to our traditional like weekly show and tell, because hopefully we'll all be finding stuff on a regular basis by then. So there's that. And then our next lecture is April 2nd. So it's not this Friday, but the 2 Fridays out. It's Jean Lodge. And she is speaking on, the title of her lecture is, do we have European wax cap species or are we headed for a Euro exit? So that should be pretty interesting if you're into the wax caps.
Luke, were we able to get a recording of Saturdays or was that not available?
I don't know. I wasn't even there, so I'm not sure if it was recorded or not, but if it does become recorded, or if I do get a copy of it, I will definitely send it to everyone. Eugene and Boone. I heard it was really good, but unfortunately I was working.
Yeah, I volunteer for Habitat for Humanity Restore, and I have a habit of going every Saturday, so they would have missed me a lot if I didn't show up. But I was sad to miss it.
So, yeah, if I do get a copy of the recording from the host who actually had the Zoom recording, I will make sure I send it to everyone. All right. Okay. Anything else?
Thank you.
Anybody else have anything else they want to talk about tonight before we wrap it up?
No, gracias.
All right then. Well then I hope everyone has a great night and good luck with the mushrooming this week and see everyone next week.
Okay, thanks, Luke.
Good night. Thank you so much.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good night.